Okay, so the first question is, how is Dell responding to changing business needs, eliminating complexity and reducing risk with the Apex data storage services?
Okay, so we have a philosophy at Dell, and we build that philosophy around security into three, what I call practice areas. The three practice areas are reduce the attack surface, detect and respond to cyber threats, and recover from a cyber attack. So the first one is really all about how do you prevent the threat actors from getting through. So we have different tools and technology that pertain to paying attention to trying to keep the threat actors out. So if you think about things like multi-factor authentication, you think about things like roles-based access, you think about things like dual authorization for sensitive commands, that's all a way to prevent the threat actors from coming in. And we utilize a lot of the principles around zero trust to try to protect that. Now, you know as well as I do, a lot of the threats get through. So the next component that you want to look at is how do you detect those threats? So with capabilities like our MDR solutions that we have as a service, we can look for XDR and EDR solutions that we have on our desktops and our laptops, always constantly on the lookout for what's happening. And then once they're through, you've detected what's going on, now it's time to get the business back to operational. We have the recovery aspect. And it doesn't necessarily mean just data recovery like from our backup solutions, but things like auto BIOS recovery, right, where our servers can detect whether or not they're booting on the right BIOS and revert back to the old one, right? So a lot of those capabilities take place on-prem, but also in our Apex services and cloud services as well. He said that with relation to what he was trying to, what he was talking about was for the AI. I think the quote was like 86% of CIOs want to move to on-prem for their AI applications. So basically because one of the most expensive things to do in the data center is move data, right? And if your data is local, you want to build your large language model around that local data. And I think you have a lot more control over it. It's not as scary when it's out of your control. So you can build that large language model to then look at your AI applications, and they can extract that data locally, right?
How does Dell Trusted Workspace protect users when working with multi-cloud services?
Yeah, so there's a lot of capabilities built into the Dell Trusted Workspace, it's called, and Dell Trusted Workspace really refers to the capabilities that we have surrounding our PCs. And our PCs are the most trusted in the world, and we've earned that disclaimer through a lot of the capabilities we have through secure BIOS, through our EDR and XDR applications built into the system to be able to look for those types of threats. So again, it comes back to keeping the threat actors out, attack surface reduction, detection when they do get through, and then what do you do in the PC? Things like auto reboot, auto recovery to the old BIOS to ensure that you're protecting against malware getting through into the system and then spreading out. In addition, from an IT perspective, you want to look at doing things, what do you do on the infrastructure side to limit the blast radius? So software network segmentation that we provide so that if they do get through, where are they going? Paying attention to those zero trust principles, like understanding who's getting through, what are they doing, authorizing whether or not they're a trusted entity to be able to come through and keep going into the application or have access to the data. So we build all of those things into our applications. Sure. So first of all, we all know that AI is like the hottest thing in the world, right? So you want to encourage this capability. But the fundamental truth is that AI and AI applications and large language models, they're just like you would treat any other critical application in your environment, like your most important ERP database or your most important financials, right? It's important that you practice good security hygiene. And that same hygiene is exactly the same for your AI model as it is for your ERP database, as it is for your financials, right? So what you want to make sure of is that, first of all, foundationally, how are you doing security wise? And that really starts with an assessment. So one of the greatest things that any business can do is, whether it be Dell that you partner with Dell to do a security assessment, or if the channel partner has a security practice where they can go in and help the customer and just do an assessment. Where are you vulnerable? What types of tools do you need to put in place? What do you have that's really positive? And then what's your budget? Because as with everything, it's a balance, right? Let's look at your worst holes. Let's look at your budget, and let's find out how to plug the worst holes with the money that you have so that we can make sure you're as secure as possible. And then you want to apply that hygiene to all of your applications, not just AI, and if you do that, as you start to implement new capabilities like AI, you can feel secure that that model is well secure because all your other businesses are secure. And that's our approach. And then starting to think about it with the lens and the mindset of those three practice areas. So have a conversation with clients. Well, I personally think security is not a product-led conversation. It's a services-led conversation where you talk to the customer about, what are you doing to reduce your attack surface, right? What fundamental applications are you putting in place to do that? And then how do you shore that up? Then look at the detection capabilities. How secure do you feel, or how confident do you feel when they come through the front door or through the side door, you can catch them? And then once you do catch them, how do you respond? How do you recover? And thinking about it in terms of that before you think about what product do I need. And if you can think about it in that way, that can then lead you down the path of, okay, what solutions do I need to put in place to make me more secure? That's kind of an approach that I would take with partners.